Have you ever heard words so cruel that they cut through your heart like a knife? My name is Richard. I'm 72 years old, and tonight, I will tell you about the night my own son abandoned me in the forest. He looked me in the eye, smirked, and said, "Meet Grizzly Bear, Dad." Then, he walked away, leaving me in the pitch-black woods like my life meant nothing. The camping trip wasn't my idea, it was Ethan's. My son is 35, strong and impatient. He insisted, "Dad, you need some adventure in your life. Stop sitting at home all the time." I tried to explain gently. "Ethan, I'm not young anymore. My back aches, my knees don't hold me like before. A forest is no place for a 72-year-old man." But he rolled his eyes. "God, you complain too much. Just stop acting old for once." So I kept silent. I thought maybe, just maybe, this trip would bring us closer. Perhaps out here, away from his busy world, he'd finally look at me not as a burden, but as his father, the man who once carried him on his shoulders, who worked through storms to give him a better life. That night, we sat by the fire. The flames crackled, shadows danced across the trees. I looked at Ethan for a moment. I didn't see the hardened man who barely called me anymore. I saw my little boy again, the one who used to cling to my arm, whispering, "Don't leave me. Dad, I'm scared of the dark." So I smiled softly and said, "Do you remember, Ethan? When you were small, you'd cry if I turned the light off. You'd grab my hand so tight, like I was your shield." But he only laughed, not kindly, mockingly. Funny how times change. Now you're the one scared of the dark. I lowered my eyes. His laughter stung deeper than any wound. After a while, he stood up suddenly. "Let's make this camping trip more exciting. Come on, Dad." I followed slowly, leaning on my cane as he led me away from the fire. The air grew colder, the forest thicker. Shadows swallowed us whole. Every step echoed with the crunch of dead leaves. Then Ethan stopped. He turned to me with a smirk. "Dad, I think it's time you met Grizzly Bear." At first, I thought he was joking, but then he let go of my arm, pushed me lightly back, and whispered, "Good luck, old man." And he disappeared into the darkness. I stood frozen. Around me, the forest spoke in eerie whispers, branches cracking, bushes rustling, a distant howl that made my blood run cold. My heart thundered in my chest. "Ethan!" I shouted, my voice breaking. "This isn't funny. Come back." But only the forest answered. For the first time in my life, I realized something terrifying. My son, my own flesh and blood, had left me to die. I stood in the suffocating silence of the forest, gripping my cane as though it could save me. Every rustle in the bushes, every snap of a branch made me jump. My old heart was pounding so hard I feared it would burst. I whispered to myself, "Stay calm, Richard. Stay calm. Don't let fear eat you alive." But how do you stay calm when your only son abandons you like garbage? I stumbled forward, searching for the faint glow of the fire we had left behind. But it was gone, swallowed by darkness. My legs trembled. My chest ached. I leaned against a tree to catch my breath. And in that moment, memories flooded me, memories of Ethan as a child. I remembered the nights I worked double shifts, coming home drenched in sweat, but still carrying a toy for him. I remembered the day his mother left us, how Ethan cried himself to sleep in my arms. And I promised, "I'll never leave you, son, never." And now here I was, left behind. The wind picked up, carrying with it the distant growl of some animal. My stomach knotted. Was there really a bear nearby? Was Ethan's cruel joke about to become reality? I clutched my chest, whispering prayers into the cold night. Hours seemed to pass. My knees buckled, but I forced myself to keep moving. I followed the sound of running water, hoping it might lead me back to camp. At one point, I thought I saw a shadow moving among the trees, large, heavy, slow. My heart froze. I pressed my back against the bark, holding my breath. It passed. Maybe it was my imagination. Maybe not. Tears blurred my vision. I whispered into the dark. Why, Ethan? Why would you do this to me? What did I do to deserve this? But the forest gave me no answer. I was alone. Completely, utterly alone. By dawn, I was shivering, exhausted, and weak. My lips were dry, my legs stiff. I could barely walk. Then, through the trees, I heard voices, hikers. A group of strangers found me leaning against a log, trembling. "Sir, are you okay?" one asked. I wanted to say yes, but instead I broke down. My son left me here." They looked horrified. They gave me water, wrapped me in a blanket, and guided me out of the woods. Hours later, I was in a ranger station, safe, but shattered. I kept hoping Ethan would come for me, that he'd walk in, ashamed, saying, "I'm sorry, Dad, I was stupid." But he never came. Instead, he called my phone hours later, sounding annoyed. "Dad, where the hell are you? You just left? I thought you'd make it back on your own." My hands trembled as I held the phone. "Ethan, you left me to die. Do you understand that?" He laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, come on, old man. Don't be so dramatic. You're refined, aren't you?" In that moment, something inside me broke. The son I had sacrificed everything for didn't see me as a father anymore, just as dead weight. And I realized I couldn't keep forgiving him. Weeks passed. Ethan barely contacted me. When he did, it was always for money. He never mentioned that night in the forest. Not once. But fate has a way of teaching lessons. One evening, I got a call. Ethan had gone camping again, this time with his friends. But something had gone wrong. A sudden storm, a landslide, and Ethan was missing. Search teams scoured the forest for days. When they found him, he was alive but broken. Hypothermic, dehydrated, terrified. He had spent 2 nights alone in the woods, abandoned by the very friends he trusted. When I visited him in the hospital, his eyes were wide with fear. His voice shook as he said, "Dad, now I know. I know what it feels like. To be left in the dark." Tears filled my eyes, not from pity, but from the cruel justice of life. I leaned close and whispered, "I promised you, Ethan, that I would never leave you. And I never did. But you left me. And sometimes life gives back exactly what you give to others." He wept. For the first time in years, he truly wept. That was the night Ethan finally understood. A father is not a burden. A father is a blessing. But sometimes, we only learn the value of our parents when the world forces us to taste the pain we gave them.